I'm just focused on things that I can control. I worked, oh my gosh, I bet I worked 14 hours yesterday, specifically on things that I can do, and things that might be a benefit across the board when it comes to other people that are looking for ways to impact what's happening in the country. What's up, Brandy? Hey, Kat. Good to see you as well. So yeah, so that's kind of that's where I'm at. You know what I mean? Hey, Carrie Morrison. What's up, Catsman Dude? What's up, Blessed and Grateful? Um, what's a May May? Hey, Cam. Good to see you as well. Good morning, Fisherman. Good to see you. Cheryl, I put it up there. I don't know what the fuck it's doing. It shows two of them up there for me. It shows the little cat with the thumbs up that says you're awesome, right? The little one coin guy, and then the little hand hearts. It shows both of them for me. I don't know what it shows for y'all. Yeah, it's probably just a TikTok glitch. So, alaikum salam. So, good morning, Hilda. Good to see you over there on the Book of Faces. You have 3 kids on e-learning. Yeah, girl, that's me today as well. What's up, Auntie Tinker? Good morning, Scotty ABC. What's up, P. Stewart? I think I said hi to Witch. Yeah, it's because they're doing whatever they're doing with the they're doing whatever they're doing with the algorithm. You know what I mean? Hey, Tamila. So yeah. So we got a bunch to go over today, but everyone is talking about what happened with Alex Preddy and what's and Nicole Renee Good and everyone is talking about these things from a talking about those things. And let me just say this. One of the things that I am finding very frustrating and actually kind of irritating is to see white people who say that they are allies, right? White people who come from the position of, I got you, Micro, good to see you. Um, and who are talking about how they're just ready to take to the streets and they're just ready to get violence and we can't let this go on. And let me just share with you, this might be an unpopular opinion, and that's okay. Like, if you don't share my opinion, we can discuss it, right? But if this is but like, yeah, are y'all really talking to the trolls? Is that what we're doing? Because I really want to have an important conversation, I think. I see way too many people who profess to be allies who are talking about, I got you, Happy Tappy, no worries. Um, that's Morales, Alejandro. That word that you just typed is Morales, right? But follow me. Here's my thing. I see way too many people who claim to be allies, right? Um, and people who are white allies who are saying things like they're ready to take to the street, they're ready to be violent, they're ready to do whatever because they can't they can't let these things continue to happen. And let me just say this for white people. You do not get to be frustrated for being treated like black and brown people for like 6 months and then escalate shit to a civil war. No, you don't. You don't go, oh, we're going to choose violence because you've been treated like black and brown people for like 6 months. Absolutely not. This is what we mean when we talk about the fragility. This is what we mean when we talk about the privilege. That's why my image says what it says. He knew he lost. ISIS violated the Constitution, and no, white people, you don't get to choose violence. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because number one, when you choose violence, you're not going to be the recipient of most of the harm. Most of the harm is going to fall upon black and brown people. No, you don't. Suck it up. Alex and Nicole, it's horrid and it's inexcusable. And It's Alex and Nicole. We've got textbooks worth of names that we could fill the pages. It's wild to me, the people that I see talking about, and I support this. Let me just say this: I believe that Alex Preddy had a right to have his firearm. Right? He has a Second Amendment right. Okay. What I think is interesting is the fact that other Second Amendment organizations and even GOP folks are also defending his right, but no one had the defense of that right when it was Philando Castile. It would be irresponsible of me to not point out these discrepancies, because these are listen, this is how we grow. I can't just step over it and act like they don't exist, because they do. These are discrepancies in conversation, and they are important. Okay. So let me just go ahead and take care of business over here in the comments. All right. Let me just go ahead and do that. So let me go ahead and Alejandro, I am inviting you to come join me on the panel. Jeff, I'm also going to go ahead and invite you to the panel. Conservative for life, I'm also going to invite you to the panel. Oh, do me a favor, put yourself on mute real quick when you first come up, because it'll give me feedback.
Oh, is it still doing it?
Yeah, hold on one second, Jeff. Let me see who else. I was checking to see if there was. I thought there was somebody else. Okay. All right. So let me go ahead and I'm going to kind of level set so that everybody knows what this space is like. Jeff, is this your first time in my live?
Yeah, for this one.
So you've been in my platform. You've been on my lives before?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. Okay, cool. All right. So let me share with you kind of how I do things in this space. Because you might be used to different. Yeah, I'm going to mute you because you're getting feedback. I don't know if you have like headphones on or something, but if you're not muted and I'm talking, I can hear feedback. So let me level set for everybody and for Jeff, in case you're new to this space and you have not been in here before. This is not a scream, rage, bait, call each other names, try to have gotcha moments kind of live. There are tons of those spaces that exist on this platform and other platforms. And so if that is the way that you like to have conversations, you're welcome to go to any of those spaces. In this space, we like to have reasonable, even if it's passionate, conversation that is respectful. So things that I don't allow in this space are going to be slurs of any kind. We're not going to talk over everybody or scream and that sort of thing. Don't spam my comments. If you got something that you want to say, then do that. But don't say it 5, 6, 7, 8 times. And don't type in all caps, because I reserve caps for moderators and for my folks that are vision impaired. I do have some subscribers that are vision impaired. So those are just the guidelines for being in the space. And as long as you can do that, we can have a conversation even if we disagree. So is that cool, Jeff? Do you have any questions about that? Thanks, Carla. You're still muted.
Okay, I was trying to unmute it. No, that's actually why I accepted the invitation. A lot of these debates turn into that screaming and yelling because, this day and age, nobody likes to hear an opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with opinions. I'm really big on rooting those opinions in fact. Right. And I think, so number one, I don't even debate. Like, I have conversations. So you said something in the comments. Do you want to repeat it for the folks so that they know what you said in the comments?
Yeah, I like bringing up the union side of it because I'm a non-union worker, but I repair for union operators.
Mm-hmm.
So I hear all the, that you're a scab, you're this, you're that, you're taking our work, blah 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 blah. So I just wonder why such a resistance to immigration law if you're so passionate about being a union laborer, union teacher, union anything.
So what do you mean resistance to immigration law?
So from the very beginning, when deportations, immigration law has been around forever. It just seems like in the last 5 years that it become such a controversy.
Mm-hmm.
Sanctuary cities.
Well, why do you think? Why do you think that is? Why do you think that immigration has become such a hot point, such a point of contention?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Why did it? If the left is, the ones who mostly support union labor, union everything, why is it that the right are the ones that are, happy about this enforcement?
Okay, so one of the things that I don't find helpful, and so when I talk, I'm going to mute you just because of the feedback. I'm getting feedback every time I talk with you.
Okay.
Okay, so one of the things that I don't think is productive when we're having conversations is when we put people into boxes in terms of the right and the left, right? Because the reason I don't is because not everybody, number one, fits into either of those boxes. It's always interesting when people jump on my live, they automatically assume that I'm a Democrat and I don't belong to any political party. I have voted both Democrat and Republican in my lifetime. Um, I think for me, the issue that I have is I don't know that immigration is an issue that is tied to unions, right? So I don't know what I don't know the connection between immigration law and immigrants and the existence of unions and whether or not people join them.
Well, that's why the unions were established to protect people in their field, especially during the Depression is when it started, was to protect carpenters having carpenters' jobs, not just bringing Joe Schmo in to do the same work for a lower wage. So unions have evolved into keeping those people, those skilled laborers in those positions, fighting for better wages, fighting for better benefits to give those people, not more control, but more benefits for their labor. So I see a lot of argument that illegal immigrants, well, who else is going to do this work? Well, who else is going to do that work? I just see that it's so hypocritical and counterproductive to be for union as a party. Now, I get what you mean about being put in boxes, but as a party, to be so strongly for union and illegal immigration.
So I don't think that anyone is for illegal immigration.
Well, I see, if you're on TikTok, you see people saying that they're here, we should let them here, we should give them work visas, we should do this, we should do that. Mm-hmm. Even though we all know that under Biden, well, under all presidents, there's undocumented immigrants, people that have come across without going through the process.
So can we make a clarification? So undocumented or unauthorized, those two phrases are interchangeable. And they don't mean that they came across without going through the process. That's not what it means. Have you ever read an actual report from the Department of Homeland Security around unauthorized immigrants and the unauthorized immigrant population?
I'm not sure I'm tracking. I'm talking about the people that did not come through border checkpoints.
I know what you're talking about, but you're using the wrong phrase. And so that's the distinction that I want to make is that, and I'm going to mute you just because of the feedback. Okay, so here's the thing, just so everybody understands, okay? When the Department of Homeland Security or when Customs and Border Patrol uses the phrase unauthorized immigrant or undocumented immigrant, that does not mean they are people that came in without going through a checkpoint. That's not what it means. And I'll actually show you a report from the Department of Homeland Security to show you what I mean. Because it's what you're referring to is what they call a got away. Okay. A got away is someone who never went through a checkpoint, never has been encountered by Customs and Border Patrol, has never done anything. Okay. That is a got away. And Customs and Border Patrol, they guesstimate what that number is, but they don't actually know, because the only way that they can guesstimate is they count like footprints or trails, or if they go upon a camp and they find fresh food and they guesstimate what those numbers are. But actual unauthorized immigrants, the reason we have those numbers is because those are people that have been in the system, and they just don't have a permanent legal resident status. So, for example, DACA, those folks are included in the unauthorized immigrant population. People that are here on temporary protected status, people that are here as refugees, people that are here on visas, people that are here with green cards. Those people are still considered to be part of the unauthorized immigrant population because they do not have permanent legal status. And I'm going to show you this document. Give me 1 second. And this came out in the spring of 2024. Unauthorized immigrant population. Okay, so I'm actually going to share my screen over here, and then I'm going to take down my picture in the background so that I can show it to you guys over here on TikTok. Okay, so let me share my screen with you all over here, and now I'm going to share my screen with you all over here. Oh, all right, so flip my camera. So this is an actual report that is from the Department of Homeland Security. Came out in April of 2024. This is the most recent one, okay? And one of the things that I love about showing this document to people is because the first thing it does is it provides definitions between legal residents and unauthorized immigrants. So a legal resident is someone who's been granted lawful permanent resident status, right? And anybody else is unauthorized. So like I said, temporary protected status is unauthorized, even though we brought them here, even though we know who they are, we gave them, temporary protected status, they're considered unauthorized because they don't have a permanent legal resident status. Deferred action for childhood arrivals, DACA. Anybody that has any other form of prosecutorial discretion. In other words, so if they have a prosecutorial discretion, that means they've been through our system. They're in the court system. Anybody that's residing in the U.S. while they are waiting for an adjustment to their status, or if they're waiting to be removed. Like, there's so many different people that fall into this category. And it's important that people understand that when we talk about the unauthorized or undocumented immigrants, we are not talking about gotaways. We are talking about people that we do know are here. We do know they are here. That's why we have the numbers. The other thing that's important to know is that as of 2022, the number was estimated to be right around 11 million. But guess what? The vast majority of those arrived here prior to 2010. So hold on a second. I'm going to show you what I mean. This is also in that same document. So let me show you. So if you look at this is a chart that's in that same report. And it's going to show you when they arrived and what year we're talking about. So in 2022, the number was estimated to be at 11 million. Out of that 11 million, 1.5 arrived here between 1980 and 1990. 3.4 million arrived between 1990 and 1999. And 3.9 million arrived between 2000 and 2009. And 2.3 million had arrived at 2010 or later. And so a lot of people don't know this information. They're listening to the news. The news is not providing accurate information. And it's causing the issues that we see. Mila, what happened? One second. Come here. Did you knock your sister off the bed? Did you knock your sister off the bed? Okay, so let me just be clear. Okay. I'm now working. I've done everything for you all. Are you okay, Mila? If you all put your hands on each other again, if somebody gets knocked off the bed, you're going to go on timeout and lose technology.
You also took my blanket.
Okay. Just if she takes your blanket, what do you need to do? Yeah, come tell me. Not knock her off the bed.
Okay.
Good Lord. So, okay, Jeff, let me take you off mute. Is that helpful having that information?
Yeah, I don't think it's a matter of arguing that side of it. As far as I think what happened was when let's leave undocumented out of it. We'll say people that came over here with visas, asylum. I have an Iraqi friend. Him and I worked together in Iraq. Him and his wife both got their permanent citizenship. They live out in Scranton. They did it the right way. He came over here, did everything.
What does that mean, the right way?
By going through the paperwork, not overextending his
But the
visa.
11 million people that I just talked about,
right? But
they've also done it the right way.
Well, the ones that are being actually deported are the ones
No,
with
sir.
expired visas.
That's not true.
The sanctuary cities that protected the criminals
That's not.
wouldn't share their information with the federal government.
Okay, so let me say this, Jeff. What you're saying is not accurate. Okay, so the 11 million unauthorized immigrants in this country came through. That's why we know who they are.
Right, that's what I'm saying. They are documented.
But they are referred to as unauthorized / undocumented. What you are
okay, so here's a difference where I can kind of show that. If you don't have your permanent citizenship, like people want to throw the Constitution around, the rights around, but those people, the unauthorized ones, they cannot vote because they don't have permanent residence.
Even if they have permanent residence, they can't vote. Unless they obtain citizenship, they're not voting.
Right. So I think that's what people need to understand is that not like people are playing semantics with the amendments, with different constitutional rights, and voting is one of the most important rights we have as American citizens.
Okay, wait, but I feel like we're kind of diverting off because we are. Yeah. So when we started this conversation, you were talking about
unions.
Yes. Unions and immigration. And I'm still trying to get the connection, because if what you're saying is, why are people who are pro-union, right, who tend to be liberal, why are those same people pro-immigration? You're like, why do we want immigrants and unions? Is that what you're asking?
Well, it seems counterproductive to me when a lot of the arguments are that we need these people picking crops. We need these people.
That's not the argument.
Jobs Americans won't do. It's a big thing.
So what people are talking about is that, so first of all, I don't know if you've ever worked in, hey, Michelle, I don't know if you've ever worked in agriculture. But let me just say this, it is a skill. To be able to do the work that they do is a significant skill. And it is work that has been shown that the average American is not equipped for, is not willing to do, especially for the wages. Now, here's the thing about that. If I am someone that owns a farm, a business, And I have people that are working for me, and I'm choosing to take it, even though they do fantastic work, even though they have high production rates, even though they are very skilled in the job that they do, and even though I know that I can't hire Americans and pay them that same rate, right? If my choice is to pay those people lower rates because I can get away with it, because they need the money and they are going to, and they need the money to send it back home and to live here. The problem is not with the immigrant. The problem is with the person that is employing the immigrant. The problem that we have isn't with immigrants or with the average American worker. That's not the problem. The problem is corporations that don't want to pay a living wage, and they will cut whatever corner possible to keep as much profit as they can. Whether that's for you, the non-union guy doing the job, right? Why do they want the non-union guy to do the job? Because they don't have to pay you as much as the union guy. You don't have to have the same benefits as the union guy. You also don't have the same rights as the union guy when it comes to negotiating your contract. And I think that sucks. I wish we lived in a country where unions weren't necessary. But what we've learned in the history of the United States of America is that corporations do not do right by people until they are forced to. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, it's almost like you're making the argument for me.
No, the argument that I'm making is not, it's not about an immigrant. It's not. So listen, I want to be pro-immigrant. So let me share with you why. But sorry, feedback again. So listen, there is no argument. The argument isn't should we be for immigrants or should we be for unions? The argument is we are for both. And the reason why we are for both is because it is our immigrant population that upholds many of our infrastructures and our benefit systems that are taking care of our boomers. Right? Samia, please do not type in all caps in my chat, please. And so that's the thing that I want people to get. It's not, oh, I want to be pro this or pro that. Alejandro, honey, if you are done, it's been 15 minutes. You can go ahead and join the panel if you want to join the conversation. But so Jeff, the issue isn't why am I for immigrants, and why am I for unions? I wish unions weren't necessary, but they are. Right? And because they are, then we want unions to make corporations do the right thing. And we also want immigrants because they are a net positive to our country and to our society.
I want to jump back in real quick.
Sure.
Because I let myself fall into a little trap here. We don't not like immigrants. We don't not want immigrants. We don't not need immigrants. We need a process that allows immigration to work properly.
I think everyone is in agreement.
And I can promise you that the people that are supporting this effort they're not against immigration. Nobody in the U.S. is generally against immigration.
That's not true.
Well, it is true.
No, that's not true. No, I can tell you definitively that's not true. I have had conversations on this app with people who,
and I do too. And
yeah. So yeah, so we're not going to say there's nobody that doesn't not want immigrants. There are a lot of people that don't.
Okay, then it's me and you in here. Let's forget about everybody else.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. I have no problem with immigration. I spent 16 years overseas. My visa, I probably have 3 passports full of visas because I've worked in every Middle Eastern and Asian country there is.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I told you, Iraqi friend up in Scranton. If you come here, the correct way, if you come here, the process, and you want to come and work and be a productive member of society, absolutely, I want those people here. And now where that it doesn't falter, but when we look at some of the people, most of the people, be honest, the majority of the people that ICE have been detaining have criminal histories. Yes, go to DHS website.
No, I will actually show you I will show you the facts that you're wrong. Hold on, I'm going to show you.
Go to the DHS website.
I am going to, hold on, I'm going to show you.
Expired visas.
Hold on one second.
Criminal history.
Give me one moment. So, are you familiar at all with the Cato Institute?
Not really.
Okay, so they are actually a right-leaning organization that also undertook this to look not just at what is DHS saying about people, but to go look up the names of those individuals and look up their information. Okay, so it's absolutely crazy to know, but almost 74% of the people held in ICE detention have no criminal conviction at all. 74%.
Are their visas expired? Are there documentation?
Okay, so I don't know any other way to say this again. Okay, 73.6%. Hold on, let me share this with my screen over here. There's a couple of different studies. This one is track reports, but I'll just show you immigration quick detention facts. And this is from, hold on for a second. This is from, and we're talking about criminal convictions. Okay. No, hold on, Jeff, you got to let me finish because now you're interrupting. You got to let me finish.
Okay.
Okay. Because we don't deport people if they don't, if for a civil offense.
Are they detained?
So I'm going to give you an example. Okay. If you've traveled to all these other countries and let's say you get a speeding ticket, should you be deported?
You can be deported. Yes, if my visa is expired.
No, that is not what I said. Listen to what I just said to you. I just said to you, because you've done all this work in these other countries, and that work benefits those countries, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So if you get a speeding ticket while you're in that country, should you be detained?
Is my visa valid?
Did you answer my question? If you get a speeding ticket and you are convicted of speeding in that country, should you be deported?
Is my visa valid?
Can you answer my question?
Can you answer mine?
Whether your visa is valid or not is irrelevant.
Which country?
Any. If you are speeding in another country, where you're using your visa and you're working and you get a speeding ticket and you pay your speeding ticket fine, should you be deported?
See, that's why not all countries are the same.
Jeff, this is not a hard question.
You want to know how I had to get my visa for?
No, I don't. I want you to answer my question.
I had to buy an airline ticket.
Jeff, why are you doing that? Why are you pivoting? Now you're just not being respectful in the conversation.
If my visa is good, no, I'm not going to be deported.
I didn't say, no, you're not going to be. I said, should you be?
Not if my visa is good.
Okay. So this is the thing. There are people who are legally going through the process. They're not here on a visa. They have court dates. Okay. They have court dates. They go for those court dates as they go through their process, and they are being detained and deported. And they don't have criminal convictions.
Detained or deported? How many people?
Some have been detained and others are deported.
So they're going through a process?
No, some have not gone through a process. 300 of them did not go through a process. And while the Department of Homeland Security disobeyed a federal order from a judge.
What federal order?
to not take those 300 people and put them on a plane and send them to CCOT. That was the order from the judge. There were 3 planes.
Right.
3 planes. And
didn't we move them all across America in planes?
No, let me just be clear. These 3 planes had 238, I believe, was the number. Okay.
Did you see all their status
of individuals? Let me finish what I'm saying, Jeff. And those people were put on a plane and sent to a prison that is known for human rights violations, a prison that had nothing to do with their status, their citizenship, their nationality, had nothing to do with them, right? And because there were 3 different planes. So as those planes were taking off, there were court proceedings going on because there were plaintiffs saying, hey, these people have a right to due process and they're not getting it. And the Department of Justice, Emil Bovee was the second in command at the time. He literally said in a meeting and told immigration attorneys at DOJ that there may become a time where you're going to have to say fuck you to a federal judge's orders in order for us to get these planes in the air. And this is not rhetoric. This is not hyperbole. This is not me giving some random hypothetical. This actually happened. There are court documents, text messages, phone messages that document this whole thing happened. So my question to you is simply this. When you say, because even if, I'm going to give you an example. Let's just say your visa is expired, Jeff. Let's just say you were working your job and your job was incredibly busy and time was overrun and all of those things. And you didn't realize, oh shit, I needed to get my visa renewed. Now you haven't done anything wrong. Your visa just expired. If you're in another country, should you walk outside your door, be pummeled to the ground, be snatched up off the street, be detained and deported without due process? Or do you have an opportunity in this country?
There's no due process if you allowed your visa to.
No, it is. No, that's where you're wrong, Jeff. That's where you're wrong.
No, the due process.
No, the due process. No, because you now have a charge. Your charge is you're here illegally.
Right.
And you have the right to go before a judge and address that charge. That is your due process.
Yeah, I tried that argument in child court. It didn't work for me.
We're not talking about child court. We're talking about immigration law.
Because I'm an American citizen?
No, because we're talking about immigration law.
Well, it's kind of relevant.
No, it's not. No, we're not. No, because we're not going to pivot. We're not going to do that. If you want to talk about child court, we can do that in a minute.
If I miss a court
if you want to talk about child court, we can do that in a minute. But right now, we're going to stay right here. And what we're going to talk, Jeff, please don't do that. Jeff, come on now. We're not going to do that. It's not productive. And there's 500 people in the room that are listening. The point is simply this. If I'm here on a visa and my visa expired, right? And I get detained and they say, hey, you're here illegally, your visa has expired, then I have due process to go before a judge and explain, why am I here? Why did my visa expire? Did it expire because I was working really hard and I forgot what day of the week it is? Did it expire because I was waiting on my next paycheck in order for me to pay for it? That's the due process. And that's what you're entitled to when you get a new charge. That's due process. And that's not the same thing as what you're talking about in child court. Bobby, we haven't even touched on expedited removal.
All right, so let's go back to I fall behind on child support payments, so therefore my visa expired. I go to the courthouse and drop a cash payment off. They accept my payment, shackle me, and parade me through the child court of Pittsburgh, down Allegheny County in Pittsburgh, parade me past everybody sitting there waiting for their hearing in shackles. In shackles, put me in a jail cell, and I have to sit there and wait for a judge to explain to the judge, I just made the payment. Can I go home now? So if people are more worried about how the system works, maybe we ought to focus on the system work.
So, okay, so let's talk about this. So let's talk about getting the system to work. I'm here for you on that. So let's talk about getting the system to work. So if we are so concerned with getting the system to work, can you share with me your thoughts, Jeff, on why both in 2021 and then again in 2023, the GOP part of Congress, right, chose not to pass meaningful, significant, very conservative immigration legislation, even when it was a standalone bill that wasn't attached to any other funding?
I didn't read it, so I can't comment on it.
Okay, so let me share it with you and the other 500 people in the room. All right, so let me explain what happened. So Senator Lankford, if you're not familiar with who Senator Lankford is, he's one of the most conservative members of Congress. He's out of Oklahoma. And he had put together legislation in 2023 around immigration. And it was very, very conservative. There were liberals and progressives very anti this piece of legislation. However, the Democratic members of Congress had agreed they would pass this bill. And when Donald Trump spoke out and he said to the senators, the Republican senators, don't pass this legislation, right? We need immigration to run on for the campaign, right? And once I get into office, then we can fix immigration. Now, this is an actual fact. I will play the recording of Senator Lankford on Fox News having this very conversation and admitting that it was the GOP members of Congress in the Senate that decided to tank this bill because Donald Trump asked them to, because he needed to win an election. Would you like for me to play the clip for you?
Is it anything like paying off student debt before an election?
What are you talking about?
Before an election year comes through and people want to give away free debt forgiveness for student loans.
What are you talking about?
People getting elected, ways people get elected.
No, but I'm not talking about ways people get elected. I'm talking about immigration. Jeff, we are talking about immigration. Stop, Jeff, stop.
Change it after.
Jeff, stop. You said, let's talk about fixing the system. Did you or did you not say that?
Yeah.
And I said, great, let's talk about that. And so what I ask you, because what's crazy to me is you're talking to me about the immigration system being broken, but yet you don't know about the immigration legislation that was proposed in 2023 that would have done exactly what you're asking.
I was talking that I'm more worried about the family court system being broken.
No, but the purpose we came up here, Jeff, was not to talk about family court. You came up here talking to me about immigration.
Right.
Okay, so let's don't, no. You said we need an immigration system that works. You said to me, Jeff, Jeff, hold on, stop, hold on. You said to me, I'm not against immigrants being here as long as they do it the right way. I want people here that do it. I want the immigration system that works. Those are the things that you said to me. And now that I'm asking you very directly, when there was an opportunity for conservative legislation on immigration to be passed, why did the GOP members of Congress tank that bill I know why they did it. They said why they did it. They said they did it because Donald Trump asked them to, right? And so I'm asking you, what are your thoughts about that? And if you are being sincere, and you are being authentic, Jeff, you'll ask me, did that really happen? Can you play the clip for me? Can you show me the bill? If you really give a fuck about actual immigration and the law and a system and getting it to work, that's what you're going to ask me about. What you're not going to do is give me a whataboutism about something that's not relevant.
Well, I don't see how a court system doing the treating immigrants the same as they treat Americans. I don't see why that's irrelevant.
So we are not talking about court systems treating Americans the same as immigrants. So in the United States of America, let me be clear. In the United States of America, we have a constitution. And in that constitution, it's very, very clear when it is addressing only citizens of the United States or when it is addressing all people. And the Constitution is very clear when it makes those distinctions. It makes the reference, this law is for citizens. This law is for all people. It's laid out in the Constitution.
Right.
Okay.
Non-citizens have less protections under the Constitution.
Who?
Non-citizens.
In what way? In what protections do? Yes. In what? Tell me what protections non-citizens have. What are they not protected by?
They can't vote.
Well, okay. So yeah, we know that. Voting is not a protection, though.
But
voting is a right.
I don't see what rights are being violated by deporting anybody that comes to this country, allows their visa to expire, has a criminal record, or came here undocumented. If you don't have...
We've already clarified that, Jeff.
Right, so they're not deporting people with...
They are, and 74% of the people being detained, 74% of the people that are being detained have no criminal conviction, period. That's just a fact.
Well, then why were they picked up?
Well, you tell me why they were picked up, Jeff.
I don't know. Did Trump flip a coin that morning?
You tell me why they were picked up.
Probably because they let their visa expire.
No, the majority of the people being picked up don't even have visas.
Well, then they should be picked up.
No, there are other ways to get here other than visas. One moment. I said you may have your snack because I just cooked you breakfast. It is not time for noodles.
Protected statuses that aren't a law?
What are you talking about?
Well, that's what I'm asking. Protected statuses. I don't see who's being deported that's here properly, that have gone through.
Well, that's because you just obviously you don't want to know, right? Because it is a thing, right? If you don't know, so hold on. I'm going to play this clip. This is Senator Langford on Fox News. And give me 1 second, because so Jeff, here's my thing. I thought at first you were going to have an authentic conversation, and I don't think that that's what you're doing anymore.
I don't get it. I mean,
well, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I don't believe it. Because if you were having an authentic conversation about immigration, child court has nothing to do with it. You being your personal experience in child court has nothing to do with immigration.
You're more mad.
I'm not mad at all.
An immigrant that's being detained or arrested for an expired visa or missing a court date than you are American citizens going.
So again, there you are misrepresenting what I said. No, so number one, Jeff, number one, Jeff,
you're going back out.
Jeff, number one, Jeff, number one, I'm not mad. Do I look mad, Jeff?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't know. Now you sound bigoted.
I have a smile on my face.
I don't care. You still sound bigoted.
See, now you're going to throw those words in there because
Yeah, no, you said I look
it's a lazy
angry.
argument.
You
When
said
start
I
calling
look
names,
mad.
it's a
You
lazy
said
argument.
I
That
look
becomes a
mad,
lazy
and I
argument.
said you sound bigoted.
No, it's becoming a lazy argument.
What's a lazy argument?
It's comparing apples to elephants.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The people that the administration set out to detain were the criminals, the people here.
Except the facts show different, Jeff.
The facts show that everybody started getting up in arms as soon as he said it.
Jeff, the
Before
facts
anything even
show that 74% of the people that are detained do not have any criminal convictions
So
at
they
all.
are detained, not deported.
Well, there's more than one statistic, Jeff.
I know there's a million.
Listen, ICE has deported veterans. ICE has deported veterans
that have lost their status.
No, sir.
Due to criminal records.
No, sir. No,
Yes.
not true.
Yeah.
No, not true.
It is true.
No, it's not. Pull up your source, Jeff. Pull up your source, because I have all of mine in front of me. Pull up your source. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a minute.
Put me on mute.
Well, then get one. So
Show me an American citizen that's been
then
deported.
bring it to me and I'll open it. Oh, I got
Show me
you.
an American citizen
I got
that's been
you.
deported.
Now, once I do mine, I'm going to ask you to do yours. Oh, okay. Give me a thing. Okay, so boom, boom. Hold on, I gotta find the right. You got it? Thank you. Oops. Stop, please. So, Savanaras, right, is a U.S. citizen. I'm going to spell the name. Souvannarath was deported to Laos, right? Laos was their home country, and they were an American citizen.
Why do you always do that?
So there you go. That's okay. Y'all remember, he's not the only person in here. Jeff, are you still here? Souvannarath,
Yeah, I'm looking. He was born in a refugee camp or something in Thailand.
So you mean he was an American citizen? Is that what you mean?
I'm still trying to get to his status.
Okay, well, I have it.
But he was born in a refugee camp in Thailand.
Doesn't matter. He's an American citizen. He did it the right way. He went through the process. He's an American citizen.
You can lose.
Jeff, you do not. You do not lose.
Yeah, they revoke status. I have to dig into that.
Jeff, he became a U.S. citizen as a minor when his father naturalized and gained sole custody of him. He got derivative citizenship under immigration law that existed at the time. He was detained on June the 18th of 2025, and he was held at Camp 57, which is a detention facility inside of Angola prison, which was Louisiana's former slave plantation turned maximum security prison.
Does it show where he is now today?
Jeff, did he or did he not get deported? Yes or no?
Where is he today?
Did he or did he not get deported, Jeff?
He may have. People get.
No, not may have, because the sun may shine tomorrow. I'm asking you, did he or did he not? Because this will be the point that will end up getting you booted, right? Is because if you're not willing to answer this question that is a fact,
Maybe he did.
then you're here wasting my time. Did he or did he not get deported? Yes or no?
Maybe he did. Where
Did
is
he?
now?
Yes or no?
Where is he now?
Yes or no? Was he deported?
So you don't
Yes
consider
or
him
no?
to be
Was
in
he
America
deported?
today?
Yes or no, Jeff?
It sounds like he was deported.
No,
Where is he
not
today?
sounds like. Yes or no?
Where is he today?
Yes or no?
Where is he? Did he
Okay,
come back?
so Jeff, when
Did
you
they bring
can
him back?
when you can say yes or no, then you can join my panel again. Folks, listen. If you can't do facts, you're a waste of time. If you can't do facts, you're a waste of time. And the thing about this is, I don't keep Jeff up here for Jeff. I keep Jeff up here for the thousands of other people and the views that this live is going to get. The fact is, Jeff made a claim. His claim was no citizens had been deported by ICE. I proved that claim wrong. Citizens have been deported. Period. And that is the problem with deporting and detaining people without due process. That's the problem. That is the reason why due process is so important. That is the reason Barack Obama caught so much heat during his administration when he deported 3 million people using expedited removal, even though when he used it and the way he used it was legal at the time. It still sucked. It still did not include due process, and people were still upset about it, and the administration was still sued over it. So the difference between someone like Jeff and myself is I can talk about the facts regardless of whether it's a Republican, whether it's a Democrat, whether it's fucking Winnie the Pooh. Right? That's it. And just for the record, folks, if your first instinct is to hear me talk and say, oh, you're angry or you're mad, I'm going to say it to your face. You're a bigot. You're a bigot. Because I'm in no way, shape, or form angry or mad. Nor do I appear that way. Now, if my language or my tone triggers that response from you, that is an opportunity for you to explore your unconscious bias, your subconscious bias, and your bigoted belief system that is ingrained in you. And if that also triggers you, lean in. So, just saying. Okay? Now, but while we're here, since we are here, I thought what I might do is play the clip of Senator Langford, right? And let me see if I can get to that, because it's a whole 7-minute clip, and I don't want to play the whole thing. I want to get to the part where
1,000 a day,
where he talks about them tanking the bill. So give me a second. Okay, let me see.
All right, that measure you referred to would still not have been good enough. What do you think?
Yeah, I get it. This common misnomer of the 5,000 a day.
Right.
Several of my colleagues have mentioned this. That's actually factually not true with it. The way the bill was set up is the very first person they came across would have been detained, quickly screened, and deported. So it was a very rapid turnaround from the very first person that came across the border. But it also did set up an extreme measure that if we have these large caravans and other folks that come in and we get 5,000, it takes away due process when you get to that number and they're just detained and deported. So the first person detained, screened quickly, quickly and deported. If you get to 5,000, they're just detained and deported. But it doesn't wait till 5,000 to do something. It did it at the very first moment. That was the great misnomer. What Senator Barrasso was saying in that, though, is actually correct, that this is not just a Mayorkas issue. This is a Biden issue, because the State Department is no longer pushing people back to recalcitrant countries. The Department of Justice is no longer prosecuting folks. ICE is no longer gathering folks up in the interior and deporting them. And DHS is no longer stopping people at the border. This is a whole of government effort to be able to advance the number of people coming in and not turning people around.
Listen,
You're a real gentleman about this, and I know you're not trying to zing your colleagues, but it's your colleagues in your party, sir, who torpedoed this, who didn't get the facts right on what you just outlined.
so this is Senator Langford, and this is Fox News. The date of this is, it says it's April the 18th of 2024. And he says, it's your colleagues. It's your folks that tanked this bill. Listen to what Senator Langford says about that.
In that measure, they killed it. Ironically, not Democrats.
Right. It was, and it was painful to be able to watch. It got stirred up in all the presidential politics, and several of my colleagues started looking for ways. After President Trump said, don't fix anything during the presidential election. It's the single biggest issue during the election. Don't resolve this. We'll resolve it next year. Quite a few of my colleagues backed up, looked for a reason to be able to shoot against it, and then walked away. I get that. That's a decision everybody makes in it. My issue is if we're pursuing everything, we very often end up with nothing. If we're pursuing someone coming later to fix it, later seems to never come. When we have a moment to fix things, we should fix as many things as we can then come back later and fix the rest.
That's on Donald Trump, Senator.
That, again, he's got an office that he's running for. He's got a campaign that he's running. I'm already in office. I've got a responsibility to be able to carry on this. I think everybody cares about the future of the country. President Trump has a bigger picture of a lot of other issues he's looking for. If we have a President Biden again, this never gets any better. And I think President.
Okay, so what I wanted to show, right, by sharing that, is that when people say to me, we're all for people doing it the right way, what I have found is that most of the times people who are making that argument don't know what the right way entails. They don't know the various many forms of the immigration system and the processes in which you can have entry into this country, right? Girl, I already muted Jeff. He can't talk. All he can do is listen. That's all Jeff can do is listen, because I'm not about to let him sit in the comments and be disruptive. No, I'm not. Jeff had an opportunity to be on this panel and have an authentic conversation that was productive and meaningful. Jeff chose not to do such a thing. So Jeff's ass got muted and then booted from the panel, or booted from the panel and then muted, right? Because this is my thing. Like, I'm not here to spoon feed people. I'm not here to argue with you. I'm not here to make you believe facts. Like, that's not my job, right? I am here. I am sharing facts with you. I am willing to have a conversation, even if you disagree with me, right? I'm just not going to entertain foolishness and fuckery. That's it. And when you are someone who cannot even say, yes, that guy was a citizen, yes, that guy was deported, I'm done talking to you. And I probably won't remember you tomorrow. Somebody else will. I won't. But you'll remember me, right? That's not hard. So so Kimmy, I don't believe that Jeff is a waste of time. I don't believe that. I don't believe anybody is a waste of time, right? Because the reality is like, whether he says it or not, Jeff knows I was right that an American citizen got deported. He doesn't have to admit it to me on this panel, but Jeff knows that an American citizen got deported. Jeff knows that he has no clue what immigration law looks like and what it doesn't look like. Jeff knows that there's a bunch of rhetoric now that he's out there just regurgitating that's not correct. Period. So for me, that's not a waste of time, right? Because there are also hundreds of other people in here listening at the same time. So I'm not responsible for what Jeff does after this moment, right? That's on Jeff. Ain't got nothing to do with me. But I'm gonna keep it pushing. Okay. One of the things that I want to bring back around is what I said at the top of this live. So if you weren't in this live in the first 15 minutes that I was live, which was over an hour ago, please put a 1 in the comments. If you join this live less than 45 minutes ago, put a 1 in the comments. Okay, cool. Because I want to go back to something because I don't want it to be missed in all of the different things that Jeff and I went around the mulberry bush and talked about. Okay. I want to go back to what I said and the prompt that is on the screen, the actual graphic. My graphic says, quote, he knew he lost. ICE is violating the Constitution. And no, white people, you don't get to choose violence. And the reason that is there, it's up there. I don't know why the gift goal looks the way that it does. I really don't. But I will attempt to fix it. Again, I know TikTok has had glitches the last couple of days, so I'm gonna try my best. So one of the things that I have heard from white people who consider themselves to be allies, and I want to be clear about who I'm speaking about. I'm specifically speaking to white people who consider themselves to be allies where immigration is concerned, Black and brown people are concerned, where ICE is concerned, where police brutality is concerned. I'm speaking to you all, okay? Because and if you fall into this second category, so there have been a large number of those people that I have seen across social media and even in discords where a lot of allies, white allies, are saying, you know, we're tired of this, you know, we're ready to fight, right? We're ready to fight, we're ready to be violent, we're ready to be ABCDXYZ. And let me say this to you all, no, you don't. You do not get to choose violence, white people. Hella, Raja. No, you don't. I understand that what happened to Alex and Nicole is horrible. It's horrid. And you do not get to become so frustrated after being treated like Black and brown people for 6 months that you get to choose violence. After 6 months of experiencing what Black and brown people have experienced our entire existence in this country, you don't get to choose violence. You don't get to escalate things in this country and know good and well that if you stay in the house, it's not going to impact you. You don't get to escalate violence that is going to come down harder on the people you're supposed to be an ally for. No, you don't. Suck it up, Buttercup. You don't get to do that. You do not get to make it harder on immigrants. You do not get to make it harder on Black and brown people because you're frustrated. No, you don't. And some people might feel some kind of way about what I'm saying. But let me just tell you something, folks. If you don't understand, see, this is where I keep saying this to people, allies never stop listening. Real allies never stop listening. And they go, oh shit. Right? I talk about this a lot, especially when I get tired, right? Because there are times when I get tired on this here app. I get tired doing this work. And there are some times where I'm like, fuck these people. Let me just pack up me and mine and get on out of here. I do sometimes for like about that long, right? And then anybody that knows, if you've been following me for a while, you know there's one particular civil rights leader that I think of in those moments. And if you know who it is, put him in the chat. If you know who it is, put him in the chat. Yep, Mel Gray. You got it, Cam. That's it. Yep, Blue Honey Pot. John Lewis. I get teary-eyed just thinking about it, just reading that name. Because for me, I think about the real life struggle. I think about the second day on the Edmund Pettus Bridge. At the day that would become known as Bloody Sunday. Right? Because y'all do know the walk was supposed to happen the day before. Y'all know that, right? And I think about the second day where they said, nope, we're going back. We're going to do this thing. And I think about standing on the bridge. And I think about looking ahead of you and seeing row after row of white police officer. I think about billy clubs. I think about dogs. I think about all of it. And then I go, girl, you ain't got no business being tired. You ain't got no business being tired. Good trouble. Good necessary trouble. Like that's the part that is the most important to me, you all. When you think about what he says, when they talk about him getting into good trouble, I want y'all to don't leave out the second part. Good necessary trouble. And I think sometimes, especially right now, people need to ask themselves, is the good trouble that you're getting into necessary? Yeah, Tracy, I have. Is the good trouble that you are getting into necessary? What's the benefit of the good trouble that you are getting into? Because sometimes the trouble can be good, but it ain't necessary. And it's not fucking beneficial. Can y'all tell me what is the benefit? What is the benefit of throwing snowballs at ice? Other than people get to laugh and joke or make fun. I'm asking, real talk, you all. What's the benefit? There is none. It doesn't, matter of fact, all it does is make them madder at the black and brown people y'all say you're standing up for. All they do is turn around and take that fucking frustration out on somebody else. So while you walk away feeling satisfied, you put somebody else in danger. It is not about you and your fucking feelings, people. It is not about you and your feelings. Oh, it felt so good. I don't give a good damn. I don't care about your feelings. I don't care if it made you feel good. I care about you antagonizing people that currently don't have any accountability and are unaliving Americans in our streets. That's what I care about. Why don't you ask yourself, is what you're doing helping? Or are you causing more harm? That's my question. For everybody that is an ally, are you getting into good trouble? Is the trouble you're getting into necessary? And are you making more victims? What do I suggest you do? I suggest you don't antagonize. I suggest that you, for example, you live in Minneapolis right now and you're white and you know Black and brown people that live around you in your neighborhoods and communities. I suggest you take your ass to the store and get their stuff for them. I suggest that you make it so they don't need to leave their homes. I suggest, if you are able to, do you understand what I'm saying to you? I suggest you protect them instead of antagonizing the aggressor. I suggest you put their well-being above your emotional frustration. Right. Decrease the risk for them. And I think that there is a way to record, y'all. Y'all wild. Y'all do know there's like, you can get a fucking little pen and put it on your shirt and record. You ain't got to stand there with your big ass phone in somebody's hand. There's all kind of little devices. All kinds of little devices today. You want to document? You can do that. The phone is not your only way. You can put cameras on your glasses. You can put cameras on your pocket. You can put like this. There are so many different places you can wear a body cam. There are so many different things to do. You can be present, right? You really want to do something? Show up with your Bible and a little camera that's just recording. I'm just here to observe. And then you stay back. Observe. Document. And then go file your police reports. And go file them with your state, not the federal law. Go file it with your state. Your states have told you they will prosecute. Walk into your local police department. Walk into your district attorney's office and say, I would like to report a crime. I witnessed someone being abducted today. So I can't speak to what Preddy was or wasn't doing. I know that he took up for some women and all of that. And I do know that he was filming with his phone. I do know he was doing that. Other than that, I don't know it all. But my point is that we are talking about two different things. I see videos of people coming up behind ICE agents and hitting them with snowballs and then running away. The people I see doing that behavior are white. I do not see Black and brown people engaging in that behavior. And all you've done is anger that agent who will most likely take it out on someone else. And most likely it's going to be a Black and brown person. Yeah, so listen, this is a time, right? Snowballs are not good, necessary trouble. Provocation is not helpful. Provocation justifies their escalation. Let me say that again, y'all. provocation justifies their escalation. And you are walking into the trap they want you to. And some of y'all are like, we're not our ancestors. You're right, you're not. Some of you all don't know shit about oppression. Some of you don't know shit about real activism. Some of you all don't know shit about how to actively, productively protest. And it requires organization, and it requires leadership, and it requires responsibility, and it requires, you just, listen, you can't give them jokers nothing to use against you. Nothing. Not a thing. Because they will. Candy Kiss, I don't know why that bothers you. Candy Kiss said, the thing that gets me, Dani, is how they lie, no remorse for the life being taken. So let me be clear. Number one, you cannot expect people to have remorse who do not have shame, who do not have the capacity for guilt. You don't feel remorse when you don't feel shame. We are dealing with leadership that lacks the emotional capacity for guilt and shame. Therefore, there will be no remorse. But this is nothing new. What's up, 5077? This is nothing new. And I want you all, I keep saying this, but y'all gonna have to stop. Y'all gonna have to stop calling this Smatschi Germany. This is not what that, this is not that. This is the good old United States of America and how it treats Black and brown people. You hear me? I'm going to say this again. This is the United States of America being and doing what the United States of America has always been and does. And the only time our country and our government hasn't done and been this is when the people have required them not to. So when I talk about rights, see, everybody's like, we gave the mustache man their playbook. Yeah. So let me just tell you all something, okay? Let me offer you something. In my opinion, and it is not ready, so I'm not rolling it out. But I do have something that I have been working on. And I have shared it with less than, 8 people. If you are one of the 8 people in the last 24 hours that I have shared the project I'm working on with, can you put a 1 in the comments for me? If you are one of the 8 people. I see a couple. On a scale from 1 to 10, when it comes, did somebody pass something around? For fuck's sake. Who the fuck passed the document around? Did I pass it around by accident? Okay, so if you have not actually seen the document itself, okay, great. You saw what in Discord? Oh no, if you mean the graphics, that's not what I'm talking about. It's okay, Candy Kiss. Okay. So listen. Right. There you go. Yep. So I have been making social media graphics for you all to share. That I have been doing. So let me give you an example. Okay. So how many of you all know, for example, okay, that in the 2024 presidential election, almost 24% of our states had margins that were 10% or less. A quarter of the country during the 2024 presidential election had margins that were 10% or less. $12 out of 50 states. You know, because of me. Now I'm going to walk you down the path of just one of those. You ready? I'm going to walk you down the path of just one state. So then let's take the state of Wisconsin. Okay. And just so you all know, this process looks something like this for one state, right? But this is not the only piece. So let me just share something with you all, okay? Right. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of additional information. So in the state of Wisconsin, 15. No, Edith, you should not. I saw that question in Discord. So listen to me. In the state of Wisconsin, there's 72 counties in the entire state. Almost 21% of them, 15, also have margins that are 10% or less. 1 in every 5 counties in the state of Wisconsin has a margin of 10% or less. Now, would you be shocked to know that of those 15 counties, 8 of them are rural? 8 rural counties in the state of Wisconsin had margins that were 10% or less. But people think rural country is Trump country. That does shock you? Yeah. Okay, so listen. There are, in my opinion, 3 things to focus on in the United States of America. 3. The first are elections. Thanks, Jamie. Folks, we have to be focused on elections. And the first thing, if the first thing you say to me is, are we going to have elections? If you don't shut up with that pessimistic, fear-based nonsense, of course we are having elections. Of course we are. I don't give a shit what they say or do. I don't care what he says. Of course we're having elections. And of course, the people are going to do what's necessary to ensure that we have elections. So why don't you go on right now and get a hold of your attorney general of your state and say, hey, what are you doing to ensure we're going to have midterms? Of course we are. Because we, the people, are going to make sure that we are. Cat, again, fear-based. That's a fear-based thing. It doesn't matter who you have, Carrie. It doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, every single one of them took the same oath. And elections are run by the state. We don't have no damn martial law, Black Tap. Kat, again, why? So you get to choose right now. You absolutely get to choose whether you're going to spend your time. Do you want to know why? Do you want to know why people like the Heritage Foundation and the GOP win all the fucking time? Because they don't spend their time wondering what the damn Democrats and progressives are going to do. They didn't spend all their time worrying about what we were going to try to do. They spent their time getting together over 50 organizations and writing a 900-page playbook on how to accomplish what the fuck they wanted. Stop worrying about them. It's so easy. It's so lazy. It's so lazy to spend all your time. Well, what if they, I don't give a fuck what they do. I don't, listen to me. I don't care what they do. I'm not focused on them. I am focused on us. I can be aware, but guess what? What can you do if they try to stop an election? Not shit. Do you want to know why? Because you're not the Attorney General or the Secretary of State in your state, are you? So that is why I just said, contact your Attorney General and your Secretary of State and ask them, what are they doing to ensure your state has successful, safe, secure elections? That's all you can do on that particular front. And by the way, if you have a Democratic Attorney General, they have been picking apart Project 2025 since the day after the election in 2024. Okay, I gotta play something for y'all because I'm a big follow my gut kind of girl, and whenever I get a nudge, I just do the thing. So oh my Lord. Okay, I'm about to play a clip for y'all. You ready? All right, give me a second. All right, here we go. I want you to listen. This is one of the most brilliant TV shows that ever existed, and I hate the fact that it's no longer on, but we can learn. So listen. You guys over here, I'm sharing. Yeah, Candy, I'm okay. I'm okay. I really am. All right, y'all ready? Here we go.
Let's move on to the next question. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Jenny. I'm a sophomore, and this is for all three of you. Can you say in one sentence or less what... you know what I mean. Can you say why America is the greatest country in the world?
Diversity and opportunity.
Lewis?
Freedom and freedom. So let's keep it that way.
Will?
The New York Jets.
No, I'm going to hold you to an answer on that. What makes America the greatest country in the world?
Well, Lewis and Sharon said it. Diversity and opportunity and freedom and freedom.
I'm not letting you go back to the airport without answering the question.
Well, our Constitution is a masterpiece. James Madison was a genius. The Declaration of Independence is, for me, the single greatest piece of American writing. You don't look satisfied.
Hold on, y'all.
One's a set of laws and the other's a declaration of war. I want a human moment from you. What about the people? Why is America
Not the greatest country in the world, Professor. That's my answer.
Not.
You're saying...
Yes.
Let's talk about...
Fine. Sharon, the NEA is a loser. Yeah, it accounts for a penny out of her paycheck, but he gets to hit you with it anytime he wants. It doesn't cost money. It costs votes. It costs airtime and column inches. You know why people don't like liberals? Because they lose. If liberals are so fucking smart, how come they lose so goddamn always?
Hey.
And with a straight face, you're going to tell students that America is so star-spangled awesome that we're the only ones in the world who have freedom? Canada has freedom. Japan has freedom. The UK, France, Italy, Germany, Spain, Australia, Belgium has freedom. So 207 sovereign states in the world, like 180 of them have freedom.
All right.
And yeah, you, sorority girl,
Just in case you accidentally wander into a voting booth one day,
there's some things you should know. And one of them is, there is absolutely no evidence to support the statement that we're the greatest country in the world. We're 7th in literacy, 27th in math, 22nd in science, 49th in life expectancy, 178th in infant mortality, 3rd in median household income, number 4 in labor force, and number 4 in exports. We lead the world in only 3 categories: number of incarcerated citizens per capita, number of adults who believe angels are real, and defense spending, where we spend more than the next 26 countries combined, 25 of whom are allies. Now, none of this is the fault of a 20-year-old college student, but you nonetheless are, without a doubt, a member of the worst generation ever. So when you ask what makes us the greatest country in the world, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Yosemite?
Listen to the rest.
Sure used to be. We stood up for what was right. We fought for moral reasons. We passed laws, struck down laws for moral reasons. We waged wars on poverty, not poor people. We sacrificed. We cared about our neighbors. We put our money where our mouths were, and we never beat our chest. We built great big things, made ungodly technological advances, explored the universe, cured diseases, and we cultivated the world's greatest artists and the world's greatest economy. We reached for the stars, acted like men. We aspired to intelligence. We didn't belittle it. It didn't make us feel inferior.
We didn't belittle.
We didn't identify ourselves by who we voted for in the last election, and we didn't scare so easy.
We didn't identify ourselves by who we voted for the last election.
We were able to be all these things and do all these things because we were informed by great men, men who were revered. First step in solving any problem is recognizing there is one. America is not the greatest country in the world anymore.
So that clip is one of my favorites. I play it often. It is from a show that used to be on HBO called The Newsroom. It's called Newsroom. They took it off after 3 seasons. In my opinion, they took it off because that shit was just too real. It was too accurate. It was too incredible. And that's Jeff Daniels. And so I don't know if you saw or not, but they had him reenact this clip when Kamala Harris was running. Did you know that? They had him reenact this clip when she was running. And so here's my thing, folks. Yeah, Candy Kiss, it is. So let me just tell you, yeah, you're welcome, Crystal Intent. In order for us to win, we have to get out of the polarity that exists. Not that I know of, Christine. In order for us to win, and when I say win, and when I say us, I actually mean the people. I actually mean the average, ordinary, run-of-the-mill, regular-ass American person. Okay? We have to get over the polarity and the verbiage that causes such significant division and divide. And we've got to be willing to have conversations that aren't comfortable. We've got to be willing to call a thing, address people for who they are and where they are and what they're doing, right? This is what's going to be necessary. And we're going to have to be able to do that in order to have the very necessary conversations. So see, I'm going to give you an example, wave one. So you just said Democrats also have to support social programs and people over corporations. I agree. I also agree that the Democratic Party is broken. And so here's what I would say is, I'm not going to say just Democrats. What I want to say is anyone that is running for office. Because there are people, you all, that want to run for office that can't stand the bureaucracy of the Democratic Party. Right? It is the people. I want to stop using the words Democratic Party and Republican Party. I do. I want us to start talking about us. I want people that want what's best for people. I do. I want people that want our kids to have great education, accurate education, even when it's uncomfortable, so we don't fucking repeat the mistakes, so that we create something different. I want people that understand that if you want high production, if you want a workforce that performs well and does all of those things, then maybe you should make sure they can pay their fucking rent and get their medication and see a doctor. Because did you ever think that if someone was at work and they didn't have to keep muting their phone from the bill collector calling, they might be able to give you more of their time and attention in the office? If they weren't getting the overdraft fee notification while they're sitting in the meeting, I wonder what they could produce in your company. I wonder if instead of being at work while they're sick, giving you 30% of their full potential for 7 days, what would happen if they took 3 days off, sat at home, did nothing but rest, recuperate, go see their doctor, get their medication, and come back? I wonder how much more you would get from them. I wonder, you all, what could we create? What could we create together? Because I think it would be incredible. And I do believe, so let me tell you something. Here's what I believe. I believe everyone has prejudice. I don't care your age, your gender, your sex, your race, your creed, everyone has prejudice, prejudgment. It is your ability to investigate that prejudgment, right? Own it, make changes and shifts where necessary, that makes the difference. Not everybody is a bigot, and even bigots can be shifted. If the vast majority, listen, folks, I'm just telling you that there is so much more than what we've been taught. Oh, you like it, Cam? Love that. There's so much more than what we have been taught. So I just want to be clear about, I got you. I want to share something with you all. Do I have anybody that is in here, and you might not even want to identify yourself, so let me not ask that question. If you are someone that has ever considered yourself to be a conservative or a libertarian or Republican, right? A constitutionalist. If you're a big fan of them damn founding fathers, I want to read something, and I'm not going to read all of it to you, but I want to read something to you. And people that have been with me for a long time already know probably what document I'm going to refer to. But I'm referring to Federalist Paper number 1 that was written by Alexander Hamilton. How many of you all are familiar with the Federalist Papers? Anybody? Should I say who's not familiar? Is that better? If you're not familiar with the Federalist Papers, put a 1 if you're not familiar with them. Yeah, because of me. Gotcha, River Ray. If you are not familiar with the Federalist Papers, sort of, okay, put a 1. Great. This helps. Okay, so listen. So let me just be clear. When I talk about the Founding Fathers and some of the brilliance, I am not saying that from some rose-colored glasses where I don't understand that many of them were still slave owners, that they didn't view women as equal citizens and all of that stuff. I'm not saying that, right? I'm not saying that. I know exactly the issues with the Founding Fathers, right? And there's some wisdom in some of the things that were said. So this is Federalist Paper number 1, written by Alexander Hamilton, and I'm not going to read the entire thing, okay? But what I want to do is read the first 3 paragraphs. Okay, you ready? Hold on, I need water first. And yes, this is in my link tree, but follow me. Here's what he says. After an unequivocal experience of the inefficiency of the subsisting federal government, you are called upon to deliberate on a new constitution for the United States of America. The subject speaks its own importance. He said, just the fact that we're talking about, we've got to write a new constitution. That tells you how damn important this is, right? And he says, we understand in its consequences, nothing less than the existence of the Union. The consequence of our Constitution, the ability for it to be upheld, to be interpreted, for it to offer the protections of its citizens, in and of itself, this Constitution is so important, it determines whether or not this Union will exist. And he says, the safety and welfare of the parts of which it is composed, the fate of an empire in many respects, the most interesting of the world. Listen, if we don't get this Constitution right, basically, what Alexander Hamilton is saying is we're fucked. in Dani terms. Okay? Awesome, Jeff. So then he goes on to say this. It has been frequently remarked that it seems to have been reserved to the people of this country by their conduct and example to decide the important question. And y'all, this question's huge, so listen. We must decide the important question whether societies of men are really capable or not of establishing good government from reflection and choice, or whether they are forever destined to depend for their political constitutions on accident and force. Here's my thing. Where we are right now, I do not want us to try to use accident or force. I just don't believe that that's helpful to us. Okay? I would love to see us create something based on reflection and choice. Does that make sense, you guys? And he says, if there be any truth in the remark, the crisis at which we are arrived may with propriety be regarded as the era in which that decision is to be made. And you all, history does repeat itself, kind of, sort of. We're at a similar place where we must make a similar choice. And he says, and a wrong election of the part we shall act may, in this view, deserve to be considered as the general misfortune of mankind. If we do not get it right, you all, it will be the misfortune of all mankind, especially for us. Second paragraph. This idea will add the inducements of philanthropy to those of patriotism, to heighten the solicitude which all considerate and good men must feel for the event. Listen to this part. He says, happy will it be if our choice should be directed by a judicious estimate of our true interests, unperplexed and unbiased by considerations not connected to the public good. Y'all, I want this sentence so bad I can't stand it. I want this sentence so bad I can't stand it. He said, happy will it be if the choices that we get to make about how we govern and the choices that we make with our Constitution, if they are guided simply by the true interests of the people and the country, and it's not biased or perplexed by considerations that aren't connected to the public good, like corporations and vulture capitalism. He said, man, happy would it be if we could just choose what's in the best interest of the public good, what's in our true interest for the people, without biased and perplexing things that don't have anything to do with the public good. Happy would it be? He says, the plan offered to our deliberations affects too many particular interests. It innovates upon too many local institutions, not to involve in its discussion a variety of objects foreign to its merits and of views, passions, and prejudices little favorable to the discovery of truth. And then this is the part, you all. He says, among the most formidable of the obstacles which the new Constitution will have to encounter may readily be distinguished the obvious interest of a certain class of men in every state resistant to resist all changes which may hazard a diminution of power. See you later, Sarah. He said, listen, he said, one of the biggest obstacles we're going to have is a certain class of men in all of these states who aren't going to be real happy about this federal stuff that limits their own power. Why do you think you hear so many people talking about states' rights or small government, but they only mean some small government, not the government where they hold the power? And he says, and they will resist all changes which may hazard a diminution of their power, their emolument, and the consequence of the offices they hold under the state establishments. And the perverted. So these are the formidable obstacles. So you got that one class of men who in the states aren't going to want their power diminished. And then you also have the perverted ambition of another class of men who will either hope to aggrandize themselves by the confusions of their country, or they will flatter themselves with fairer prospects of elevation from the subdivision of the empire into several partial confederacies than from its union under one government. There will be people that seek to aggrandize and elevate themselves by dividing the country. Folks, we are there. I don't know if people accurately understand that we are at a point of constitutional crisis in this country. And we got these two different classes of men that are at the wheel. You got the one group that has aggrandized themselves by dividing the nation, and you got the other group that doesn't like this Constitution because it takes away their state power. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but he says, it is not, however, my design to dwell upon the observations of this nature. I am well aware that it would be disingenuous to resolve indiscriminately the opposition of any set of men merely because their situations might subject them to suspicion and to interested or ambitious views. Candor will oblige us to admit that even such men may be actuated by upright intentions, right? And it cannot be doubted that much of the opposition which has made its appearance or may hereafter make its appearance will spring from sources, blameless at least, if not respectable, the honest errors of minds led astray by preconceived jealousies and fears. Folks, we didn't stumble into this place where we are. And so the question that I have for people is, wave one, I am not suggesting we have a convention of states. I'm not suggesting that at all in any way, shape, or form. What I am suggesting is that we become aware of the two certain classes of men that we have that are attempting to undo the existing Constitution because they want to get rid of the things that we did in the 60s and the 70s. They want to get rid of many of the amendments that give us our civil rights and our protections as individuals. I am not saying to you that we should change the Constitution today. I'm not recommending we have a convention of states. I am suggesting that we become aware of the certain classes of men. Notice it didn't say Democratic or Republican. It talked about some that wanted federal power and to aggrandize themselves by separating the country. And then they talked about another group who didn't want anything at the federal level that would take away their power at a state level. Rather than the benefit of being unified under the Constitution under one government. And that's the point that I am making. So the question that you have to ask yourself is, are you married to the rhetoric of liberal, Democrat, Republican, MAGA, GOP, BLAGA? Are you married to that rhetoric and that tone and that discord? Or are you open to common ground and hard conversations that come with, that create connection, that create understanding? And this is everybody. This is everybody. I am literally speaking to every regular person out there. Carol Dean, we did finish ratifying. That's not accurate. The ERA was ratified in 2020. That's not accurate. The ERA was ratified in 2020. The problem is that it was ratified after the 10-year window had passed. So whenever you go to amend the Constitution, 37 states have to ratify the amendment. The 37th state to ratify the Equal Rights Amendment for women was Virginia, and it took them until 2020 to do it. Now, because the ERA was passed in 1973, it needed to be ratified by 1983 in order for it to be added to the Constitution. So in 2023, the Democratic Party in Congress put forth a resolution to eliminate that 10-year requirement so that it could be added to the Constitution. And GOP Republicans, GOP members of Congress blocked that resolution. So women in the United States of America, if you want to know why the Equal Rights Amendment has not been added to the Constitution, it is because Republican members of Congress voted down the resolution that would have eliminated the 10-year requirement for ratification that blocked it. That's why. It's just that simple. And that's not being partisan at all. That's just being factually accurate. That is why the ERA is not in. Well, that's the final reason. But you have to ask yourself, what does it say? What does it say about the 50 states in this country that it took until 2020 to fucking ratify it? What does it state? What? Yeah. Can you what? Yes. Well, that's what I'm saying, Jimmy. So it's a twofold problem. It's a twofold problem. What does it say about the country that we didn't ratify it in 10 years? And since it wasn't ratified in 10 years, why don't we just get rid of the 10-year requirement so that we can take care of it now? This is why when I read Project 2025, when I read the Heritage Foundation's playbook, and the Heritage Foundation says, when we were left to our own devices, we rejected slavery. We rejected second-class citizenship for women. I call bullshit. No, the fuck you didn't. Not left to your own devices. It took protest. It took activism. It took laws. It took organizing. It took all of those things. If this country had been left to its own devices, Black and brown people would still be property in this country. And women would still be subjected to either just being teachers, just being nurses, not allowed to go, only being able to go to certain educational institutions, not having access to your own credit lines, being able to buy a house, being able to get birth control. Like, let's just call a thing, because that is the only way we move forward. That is the only way we move forward. And one of the most frustrating things for me in this time are the people that consider themselves to be allies. Allies are very frustrating for me right now. Not only because you seem so impatient and ready for violence after such a short window of time of being in the fight, but also I want you to understand that had you done the work on the front end, we wouldn't be here. When I talk about white allies, especially white women allies, right? If y'all had got your folk together, we wouldn't be here. I'm just saying, you working so hard on this end at somebody else's expense because you didn't do the work on the front end. What does that have to do with anything, Wave One? So when people say, okay, so let's talk about that. When people say, I did the work, or what do I mean by that? Here's what I mean. So number one, if you know for sure you did everything possible to influence every person in your life, right? Cool, I'm not talking to you. And if you were part of the rhetoric, making fun of MAGA, calling people stupid, cursing people out, putting people down, making them feel small, I am talking to you. I'll never forget people when it was shortly after the election, and I was talking about the need for us to have productive conversations with the people in our circles of influence. And somebody in the chat was like, "I'm just not ready yet." And I said, "Well, you better get fucking ready now. What the fuck do you mean you're not ready yet? This is not about you. This is not about you. I don't care if you ready. You better get yourself together and get ready." That's privilege. When you say I'm not ready yet, that's coming from your place of privilege. Because there are many people in this country that have to stay ready. You have to always step up and be the bigger person. You have to always put the wellness of the group over the individual feelings. So, again, so when I say I want to see people move and do the work that is effective, that's what I mean. And for me, I believe that's going to be a 3-pronged approach. Yeah, see, so Angie, and when you say I can't stop telling these people to fuck off, okay, so here's what I would say. I want you to, the next time you get ready to open your mouth and tell somebody else to fuck off, I want you to remember the ICE agent telling Nicole Renee Brown fucking bitch. I want you to remember the next time you want to tell somebody to fuck off, I want you to think about the thousands of children that are in ICE detention centers right now. Next time you want to tell somebody to fuck off because they disagree with you or because they voted for Trump, I want you to think about Alex Preddy. And there are veterans right now that are minus an ICU nurse because he's no longer there. You're welcome, Angie. Like this is also part of the work. So this is what people love to do. People love to go, "Oh, they're the problem." Beloved. We are all the problem. We don't have time to be cursing people out and telling them fuck off. Just like at the beginning of this live today, when I had Jeff up here and y'all were like, "Just ditch Jeff." And there was almost 500 people in this room hearing that exchange. Y'all better get out of this microwave mentality. Y'all do know that very little cooked in a microwave actually tastes good. It's just some shit you'll eat so you don't die. But there's very few things created, cooked from scratch in a microwave oven that taste amazing. Y'all better get used to kneading some damn dough, getting your yeast to rise, putting it in the oven. Yes. Like what? Huh? Well, go look and then I'll tell you. What's up, sis? Hey, Alexis. So.
I don't know what's next. I guess check.
Well, I don't know. What do you want?
What?
So let me just say this, you all. If you yes.
I don't like it. I'm large.
Yes, you do.
I don't anymore.
That's not true, Jimmy. That's literally not true. Statements like that are an excuse not to have to do the work. He said, people on both sides are unwilling to even consider the opinions of others. Not true. Right, when she wants something, which it's just not true. And that's an excuse. Let me just tell y'all something. The reason some of y'all are like nobody wants to listen is because you don't want to have to fucking try. The reason some of you all you want to keep saying things like, oh, they're not open to hearing anything, is because you don't want to have to develop the patience necessary to get them to listen. You want to say, oh, they're never going to listen. They're never opening to listen, because you don't want to have to do the work to become someone that can sit in the conversation that it's required to get their attention. That's why. Because if you had to admit that there are actually Trump supporters and Republicans and people out there that are willing to listen to you, then you might have to go, oh shit. So what do I need to do in order to be able to be heard? How do I need to be in order to be heard? How must I speak? How must I think? How must I talk? But who wants to do that? It is not factual for a lot of people. I didn't read what I wanted, Jeremy. I read what the fuck you wrote. You want me to read it to you? Here, I'm going to tell it to you, and then I'm going to read it to you. You ready? So let me tell you what you said, Jimmy. You said, this is on both sides. They are unwilling to listen to the opinions of other people. That's what you said. That's what you said. And I'm going to scroll the fuck back up, Jimmy, so I can read it to you, because I know what you said. I know what I read, because I read what you said. Jimmy, you ready? Here's what you said. On both sides, people are unwilling to even consider the opinions of others. That's what the fuck you said, Jimmy. On both sides, people are unwilling to even consider the opinions of others. You didn't say some people. You didn't say a large number of people. You just said people are unwilling. And so I said, not true. Oh, 100%. So, all right. So, Lanny, I'm not going to be able to go over that today, right? But Lanny's question, you guys, was how do we forgive family that actively voted to harm our trans children? I struggle with that. So here's what I will tell you is I was scheduled to do a free workshop last Thursday. It is happening this Thursday. It's effective conversations, hard topics. That's one that I'll be tackling, right? It's how do we deal with the people in our lives, right? Who voted for things that hurt you, right? Now, let me be clear about something. So I am someone that doesn't really focus on that whole forgiveness thing. And I'm going to share with you why, because I think forgiveness a lot of times is a setup for failure. Okay. Because you have so here's the first thing that I say, and a friend of mine, his name is Phil Agrios. This is where I learned this from. I learned it from Phil. So Phil said, gratitude makes forgiveness unnecessary. Gratitude makes forgiveness unnecessary. So what do I mean by that? Salam Muhammad OS. So if I can be grateful for a situation, an experience, a lesson that it gave me, I don't need to forgive. I don't need to forgive. Gratitude makes forgiveness unnecessary. So what I am not saying is you're grateful that your family member voted to harm your trans kid. No. You can be grateful that you discovered who they were and how they thought. You can be grateful that you now have the opportunity to have an authentic conversation with them, right? About the impact of that vote, right? What's up, Doug? So, but Carol, this is my thing. When you say, I know she didn't do the research, none of that's part of it. You can just say, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I know. So like for me, anybody that I run across that I know who did not vote for Kamala Harris, not just folks that voted for Trump, but people that I know that didn't vote at all, maybe, right? I am grateful that those people have shown me another part of who they are. Because I want to know. I want to know if you are someone in my life that doesn't understand dog whistles and the Southern strategy and is a Christian nationalist or a Christian Zionist. I am super grateful for the people that have been shown to me to be who they are at this point in time, because before this I did not know. I am grateful. Sometimes protection can feel like an attack. I don't need to forgive those people. And let me also say this, you all. If we let me ask you this question. What's up, Sandy? So let me ask all of you this question. Do you believe that each and every one of us does the best that we can based on who we are and what we know at that time, at a particular time? Do you believe that? Because I believe that. No, see, I 100% know. I 100% believe that. And I'm going to share with you why. Okay? Because just because I know better doesn't mean I know better. I might know something in my head, but if I don't know it in my heart, then I may not know that I'm safe enough to act on that thing. I can know it in my head, but that doesn't mean I know how to put it into action. So let me just tell you something. If you are in here and you are unhealthy or overweight, you ain't got to put no 2 in the comments for me unless you want to, right? But you can. And here's what I'm going to say is every single one of you knows how to get healthy and lose weight, right? Burn more calories than you take in. Get a decent amount of sleep so your body can heal. Eat green leafy vegetables, nuts and shit, right? Stay away from high sugar, ultra processed foods. Like we all know that, don't we? But everybody ain't doing it. Why? Because you know it, but you don't know it. There's something that's in the way. The question isn't, what do I need to do? We talk a lot about, like, what do we do? What are the steps? The question is, what's getting in the way? It's not, do you know what you need to do? The question is, what's getting in the way? What's getting in the way of the hard conversations? What's getting in the way of gratitude? What's getting in the way of release? What's getting in the way of understanding? But most people don't want to do that work because what's getting in the way ain't about nobody else. It's about you. What's making you angry about your folks voting for something that hurts your trans daughter isn't the hurt. That's not it. It's not the fact that they voted. It's not the fact that they voted the way that they voted. It's about what that vote represents to you. And what that vote represents to you is a disregard for the well-being of your child. Right. It represents a betrayal. And it wouldn't matter what it is. It just happens to be a vote. So how you are with that person actually doesn't have anything to do with them. It has to do with you. And so this is where the work comes in. So for me, what I believe this country needs, in my humble ass opinion, okay? I'm not patient, Charletta. I mean, y'all call it patience. It has nothing to do with patience because every fiber of my being be wanting to cuss people the fuck out sometimes. But here, do you want to know why I don't? Do you want to know why I don't? Because who I desire to be as a person outweighs the desire to cuss him the fuck out in that moment. In 2017, well, a little bit before then, but I got really clear about who I want to be and how I want to be. Okay? Follow me. How I want to be in this life, who I want to be in this life. And when you get really clear on that, right? It determines how you show up. It determines your behavior. Like, I truly want to be a space and a place and a person that creates understanding and builds connection with people. Because I believe when we build connection and we create understanding, right? We chip away at the anger and the ability to do things that hurt each other. The more connection and the more understanding that we create, the less likely we are to hurt each other and support other people hurting each other. Right? So if that's who I desire to be, the conversation that I'm having with Jeff or with Sherry or with Southern Accent or with Sean or with Felix or with Brevin, right? The conversation that I'm having with those folks has nothing to do with how the fuck I feel, whether or not I'm tired, whether or not I feel like being patient, whether or not I feel heard, whether or not I feel disrespected. It has nothing to do with any of that. Because if it did, if I went into every live based on what the fuck I felt like doing, number one, I would probably almost never be live. Right? And I would be like, ooh, give me a big ass dinosaur and I'll drop them people. Right? If like real talk, I'd be like, shit, y'all want me to get rid of this sucker right here? Give me that little $1,200 whatever gift it is. You know what I'm saying? I said dollar coins. But you get what I'm saying, right? There'd be no conversation if it was about what I want to do or how I felt in the moment. But it cannot be about me. Y'all listen, it cannot be about me. I have grandbabies that have to grow up in this crazy ass world. It cannot be. When you talk about, oh, it's hard. Well, but here's the thing. It's simple. Simple doesn't make it easy. Simple doesn't make it easy. But the beautiful thing about hard things is the more often you do them, the easier they get. That's the beautiful thing about hard things. the more you do them, the easier they get. Right, Laura, we can do hard things. I don't even think about when I have people on the panel now, I don't even think about like, let me drop this motherfucker. That don't even come up in my head at all. It's not even a right, Candy Kiss, send me a galaxy. It doesn't even pop into my head. I'm more focused on creating the connection in the moment, addressing the information, pointing out the inaccuracies, providing the accurate information. Like that's the focus. It literally has nothing to do with me. And I think, okay, so let me just, and I'll share this with y'all. I think the difference for me is, okay, so for me, I have truly fallen in love with the work. And not just the work on social media and with other people, but the work on me. Like I love to dig in and go, ooh, girl, did you see the way you reacted to that? You got some shit you ain't touched on in a minute. You have an opportunity to scrub something up. You got the opportunity to heal some other trauma. Prime, I don't know why you keep saying that. Every app on your phone is fucking compromised. I don't know why people keep saying that. TikTok is no more compromised than anything else, you all. Yes, including Zion. Yes. If you don't think that, take your ass over to Twitter, where the CEO, the new CEO of Twitter, says that you can speak about being a Zionist proudly, but if you talk about being a Zionist in a negative sense, that's anti-Semitism and you can get banned. Go on over to TikTok if you don't, go on over to X. So do you want to know why I'm not on Red Note? Because my understanding from creators on Red Note is that it was an app specifically for Asian American people and their community to speak to each other and to do whatever. But I bet you money that if you read the damn terms of service for Red Note, it's all the fucking same. And again, do y'all understand this whole talk about everything is compromised and everything is whatever? It's not that your data isn't compromised, because of course it is. It's also, why the fuck are you focusing on some shit you can't do nothing about? If you don't want your data to be compromised, go live off the grid, or spend the time to go to the big data server company sites and remove your information. But talking about it ain't changing shit. You literally can't do shit about it. If you use anything, Steph, it ain't just Apple. It can be fucking Apple. It can be Windows. It can be Verizon. It can be AT&T. It can be Samsung, Sony. It don't damn matter. Y'all love to talk about big shit that you can't do anything about so that you don't have to focus on the shit you can do. That's the part that's wild. Y'all want to stay busy talking about some shit you can't do nothing about so that you don't have to focus on doing the shit that you could do. They have always done that. Shits and giggles. They have always done it. If you look back, there was a settlement with TikTok over biometric data back in 2021. Facebook does the same shit. Meta has also settled the same cases. But let me ask you something. Why the fuck do you think you're that important? Why do you think you're that important? Your data is important, but you? Like, I ain't got time to be worried about that shit. I really don't. I read the new terms of service. I read the privacy policy, and then you want to know what I did? And do you know what I did? Literally, I sat down, I got quiet, I burned some Palo Santo, right? And then I said, is it in my highest and greatest interest to stay on this app? I got a yes. Here I am. AJR, if you do not like my tone, leave. It's not hard. It's not hard, people. It's just absolutely wild to me. Oh, now see, now you're not going to do that today because that's just being rude. Yeah. Folks, listen, I am not for everybody, and that's fine. If you do not like the way I talk, if you don't like my tone, if you don't like my level of volume, then feel free to fucking leave. That's it. That's all you got to do. Put your little finger on your screen and swoop the fuck out. That's it. Because here's the thing, y'all. Let me tell you something. My focus 100% is on accurate information, on meaningful conversations, creating connection, generating some understanding, and doing shit that actually matters and can make a difference. That typically is going to be within my circles, one, what I can control, and my circles of influence. And I'm extremely passionate, Becky, 100%. I'm very, very passionate. Yeah, 100%. Yep. And like most human beings, my tone and my voice level elevate when I'm passionate. If the elevation is too much for you, swoop the fuck on. That's all you got to do. Yeah, so I mean, Kat, if you want to talk about it, you can join. So listen, folks, like I said, for me, it is, if you're this concerned about your data, right? Yeah, listen, like I said, go to the what, six or seven different data sites and remove your information. You can do that. Turn off your ads. Turn off your ads. Don't share your location within your device. There are many settings that you can use in your own device to limit things. But other than that, I'm not going to sit around and worry myself sick over some shit I can't change. I'm just not. It's not healthy. There's no reason for it. It brings me no benefit. That's it. So I would rather focus my energy on 3 or 4 different things. Those 3 or 4 different things are going to be the upcoming elections. That's one of the things. The second thing is going to be government accountability in whatever way I can influence that, right? Number 3 is going to be communities and conversations. Those are the things, because I believe that those 3 things are the way that we stop the stuff that's happening in this country, get this country on track to make some permanent, productive changes that are good for the people. All right? Because other than that, I don't see a solution other than a very smart, pragmatic approach to elections and to impeachment. And then at an individual and community level, conversations, intentional conversations. Those are the things. And in order to have those conversations, you got to do a lot of personal work. I wish Eric was in here right now. Eric is one of my subscribers, and he's been with me for several years before I was even on TikTok. And he came to some of my different workshops and trainings where I talked about what we can be doing on our local county levels and how we can be making change. And we had a one-on-one a week ago. And he outlined for me all of the things that he's done. Like they had a town hall. They hosted a town hall where all three of the candidates came. They were able to get over 100 people. And this is a rural town, rural county, had 100 people in attendance, right? He was able to kind of work with the chair, their party chair for that county, and get some other things implemented and done. He's busy talking to me and telling me about all of these things that he got to make happen. And this is my thing, folks, is too many people are focused on the biggest picture ever instead of focusing on how do you make changes at your level, because if each of us did that, it inevitably impacts the biggest picture and the overall picture together. It just does. And this is not hard. You just got to decide, folks. So, Goldie, what does that look like when you say you're currently organizing in your community? What does that look like? Because I'm going to share with you my thoughts. If people are talking about organizing and it's about ICE, and that doesn't include contacting all of your members at Congress. Yep, I love that, Goldie. And contacting every member in Congress and asking why they aren't already signed on to and supporting the articles of impeachment for Kristi Noem. That's one of them, right? Goldie, what you're talking about right now is protecting at-risk families. We talked about that earlier. Yep, that is one of the things. So I said this last week, and I'm going to keep saying it. So one of the things that I think is important is to, if there's not funding invisible, yeah, it's possible. If they don't pass everything they need for funding, yeah, there can be a government shutdown, 100%. But let me offer you all this. I said this the other day. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to keep saying it. I believe impeachment, there's an order to impeachment. I believe that preferably, it would be great if by July we could have impeached and be in the process of removing Noem, RFK Jr., Hegseth, and McMahon. And I think there are ways to get enough support, not just for the impeachment, but for the removal. It would be amazing. But at the bare minimum, you have to have at least two of them impeached and removed as we head into midterms. And as we head into midterms, right, you have to make sure that you are coming on the other side of November 3rd. Yeah, he's the second one I said, Grammy. Then by the time you get to November 4th, you need a Democratic majority. So let me explain, Redwood. Let me explain. Okay, so this is why I'm saying what I'm saying. Number one, once you get people impeached and removed, as you lead up to midterms, this is why this has to be a dual thing that you're doing at the same time. You get those individuals impeached and on the way to being removed as we head into midterms. You secure a Democratic majority in Congress in the midterms that allows you to ensure the removal from the folks that you have had impeached. It also ensures that when, after the midterms, immediately after the midterms, you impeach the President of the United States of America, the impeachment is successful and you're able to have him removed. So by the time you get to the end of 2026, you now have at least 4 members of the cabinet that have been impeached and removed, along with the president. You also have a Democratic majority, which means whoever it is, whether it is Trump or Vance, who is trying to secure another nominee, them going through the confirmation hearings is not a shoo-in. Now, because here's the thing, the other confirmation hearings were bullshit. They were a rubber stamp because there was no way to block the confirmation hearings. And you want Donald Trump impeached and removed prior to reaching his 2nd year mark. And the reason you do that is because you do not want JD Vance to be able to finish the remainder of this term and then run for 2 more terms. So that, for me, when I talk about government accountability, that the impeachment path is one part of it. Well, Black Queen, girl, I'm not Miss Cleo. I can't tell you what is or isn't going to happen because I don't know how smart the members of Congress are going to play things. I do think that he said, wait, go over that again. All right. So this is my plan for, right. Because you get him, but here's my thing. As long as he's removed before the 3rd week in January, that's before his 2nd term is up. So again, this is again my strategy. I think that right now impeaching Trump would be the worst thing ever because you're not going to have the votes. It's a fucking waste of time. And you will make his supporters dig their heels in. However, you impeach Kristi Noem first, right? With all of the ICE stuff that's happening, you can do that. The other thing that I think is important, and this is what I recommended to people to do, right? So this is what I recommended for folks to do. So I have people that are part of my community that are subscribers. And right now they are working on taking information that's out there and cataloging it by state. And here's what I want. What I'm asking for is I'm starting with red states and or red districts in those states where ICE has either illegally detained, deported, or damaged U.S. citizens. That's what I'm asking for, right? So, and the reason why is when you go to write Marsha Blackburn or you go to write Diana Harshbarger and you say, I want you to support the articles of impeachment for Kristi Noem because citizen such and such in your district was illegally detained, had their rights violated, and we are the people of a small government. Don't tread on me, and the Constitution. Da 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 da. And you apply that pressure based on what's happening right there in red districts, to constituents for conservative members of Congress, right? So, hold on, Lenny. I have been working, not to, yeah, no, this is the impeachment process. Article 2, Section 4 is just the impeachment process. Except that it's treason, bribery, and other high crimes and misdemeanors. Yeah. It's impeachment. But here's my thing, folks. In my opinion, it is not wise to file articles of impeachment without ensuring you have the support. And you do that with their own constituents. So like if it were me, I'm just going to give a hypothetical. If it were me and I'm heading up the progressive democratic movement, okay, I would be putting together this database of all U.S. citizens that have been detained, deported, beaten, whatever, by ICE. And I would be doing it by state and by district. And then it would either be myself or someone from my staff that would go to their homes. Can you share with me your story? What happened to you as a citizen? What do you think about what happened to you? Should that happen to you? Blah, 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 blah. I'd be getting that shit on video. It would be all over the socials. I would be applying pressure to people like Harshbarger and Blackburn and Graham and all of those folks to take up for their constituents. I would be making the case for impeachment based on what happened to those people. Because at the very least, those people see a progressive or a Democrat coming out to care for them and connect with them and talk with them when their own representative isn't. And at the very most, they see that, and they see, no, but there is data. Jin Yaya, literally in the Discord, I already told people where there's a fantastic database. I literally have been talking to a ProPublica journalist who has written one story on this, and they are in the midst of working on another. And while they're not able to give me access to the information they are using for their story because it's not been published yet, they were able to point me in the direction of where I might be able to get some of the information on my own. So again, there has to be a strategy for impeachment and removal. Yeah, I know, Candy Kiss. And so for me, that's what I would be focused on. And I would do it in this order. And I have a reason for this order. I would have Noam first. I would have RFK Jr. next. And let me tell you what, I would make Lindsey Graham and Tim Scott's life a living hell in South Carolina because of the 200 and some odd cases of measles in South Carolina and the people that have been quarantined there. I would 100% be all over South Carolina and even North Carolina with measles. Right? So yeah. He said, I'm in. I'm just saying. So I would be RFK Jr. next. And another reason why I would be RFK Jr. next, in addition to the measles is just the hepatitis B vaccination schedule changes. Whenever you have the American Academy of Pediatrics that is putting out information that is blatantly telling you do not believe what your government is telling you, right? All of those things are important. Okay. So that is why RFK Jr. would be next. Third would be Pete Hegseth, right? Whether you're talking about Venezuela, whether you're talking about the double tack, don't leave anybody alive behind, or whether you're talking about fucking signal chat, right? There's enough evidence and reasons to have Hegseth impeached and removed. So he would be third. And then fourth, I would go after McMahon. And I would go after McMahon because of education. And I would particularly be looking into red states and red congressional districts where funding has been decreased, denied, programs eliminated, children, not having access to the services that they need. That would be the fourth. Those would be my top four people. And then after those four people is when I would go after Trump. If we get all the way to the midterms, if we do those four, impeach and remove, as long as we get that done in the next 9 months, we're in good shape. And we have to get that done in 9 months. And then you have to get, so let me tell you why Patel is secondary. He's on my list, but he's secondary. And the reason Patel is secretary is because Kash Patel is like a little bitch. He doesn't have the stomach. And guys, there are not enough votes for Article 2, Section 4 to get rid of everybody. Listen to me. You cannot blanket do this. You cannot blanket do this. You must give members of Congress on the Republican side the justification and the evidence to do it, because they have to vote. They are not going to vote for it in a blanket. They're never going to vote for it in a blanket. Never. They are never going to do it in a blanket vote, ever. You actually have to build a case for every impeachment and every removal. And quite frankly, I want it to be that way. I do not want a United States of America where we are not. You're just talking, Carol. Listen, it does not matter. You all think that because people meet this one phrase that makes it doable. It doesn't. I don't want a process where with the flick of a fucking switch, we could get rid of an entire cabinet. I want a constitution and an infrastructure that requires us to justify what we're doing. And the justification is there. What you have to do now is put forth the evidence. Put it together as if this were a case. You're going to present the evidence as to why Kristi Noem should be impeached. And you're going to present evidence and cases and fact-based information to every member of Congress, including those that are Republican and GOP. Period. Noem, RFK Jr., Hegseth, and then McMahon. And you want McMahon next because that's education. And then after that, it's Bondi, Patel, Gabbard. So that is one piece of government accountability. That's one piece. And at the same time that you must have this one piece of government accountability happening, you must also have another piece happening, which is elections. Which means you must be using data, means you must know how to have messaging conversations, which means you must know how to build connection and create understanding. Like all of those things must be necessary. And if you are looking at it from a collective party, you better figure out how to get in touch with the people, because you're not. I just want to be very, very clear. Neither party is in touch with the majority of this country. And the reason we know that neither party is in touch with the majority of this country is because more people set out the last presidential election than voted for either candidate. Sure, Arvette, what's that? You follow me? That's how you know. Next. Y'all are focused on the wrong things. Somebody just said, so when did we get the rat Miller? Miller takes care of himself. Miller takes the Miller problem takes care of itself. As soon as I take care. So let me just tell you something. In my humble opinion, JD Vance and Stephen Miller are both the same. Like in the real world, without positions of power, they would be bitches. I don't know any other way to say that. And when you get rid of the power and the positions, right, then the likelihood is that they might remove themselves from the equation because they will be scared of additional accountability. Do you know what happens, folks, when all of a sudden you shift the game and you can't just get through anybody in terms of Senate confirmation hearings? Do y'all understand? Do y'all hear me? When you can't just put anybody in those positions? Do y'all know how hard it was for them to find people willing to do the shit that they are doing? It was hard to get people this corrupt and this dirty. It was hard. Even Bongino left. Right? I don't believe that the GOP is scared of Trump, Jimmy. I don't believe that. I think the GOP is scared of the organizations and the people of power that put together the plan that Trump is implementing for them. I don't believe they're scared of Trump at all. I think most of them talk shit behind his back. I think most of them laugh at him behind his back. I think most of them don't give a care in the world about him. I do think that they are scared of the powers that be.
I'm hungry again.
Okay, I got you. 1 second, because I'm almost done, okay? So, I believe that the way that we do this is a multi-pronged approach. And yeah, I mean, the Heritage Foundation is one part of it, though. They're a significant part of it, but they are one part of it. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. In my opinion, the Heritage Foundation is a domestic terrorist organization. I believe that. So, and the other thing that I would say is there is a bill before Congress that would pretty much make Citizens United a moot point. Every single one of you all, especially if you have Democratic legislators, need to be asking your members of Congress why they haven't co-sponsored that bill and gotten behind it. What's up, Mo? Every single one of you. Because ending Citizens United is significant, especially for moving forward. Yeah, baby. What is it? Yeah. Okay. You good?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'm almost done. Girl, don't make me lie, Lisa, and I have a headache. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Okay, so hold on, let me see if this is it. So it is the it's actually bipartisan. It has a Democratic and a Republican sponsor in the House. It is called the Campaign and Election Accountability Act. It is the Campaign, Election, and Accountability Act. Suhas Subramanian and Gus Melarakis have done it. I'm going to read their joint statement. It came out on the 21st, and here's what it says. 16 years ago today, the Supreme Court handed down its Citizens United decision, which enabled corporations and outside groups to spend unlimited money in our elections. Quote, 16 years later, Americans still have real concerns about the integrity and influence in our political process. We need to restore trust. Right now, there are no consequences for Americans who assist foreign nationals contributing to our elections, even though foreign nationals themselves aren't allowed. We need to close this loophole in the Federal Election Campaign Act, ensuring transparency, accountability, and fairness in our elections while being free from foreign influence. Free and fair elections depend upon the confidence of the American people that our democratic process is not being influenced by foreign money and or interference. While federal law clearly prohibits non-U.S. citizens and non-permanent residents from contributing to U.S. elections, it does not currently address individuals who knowingly assist or facilitate those illegal contributions. I got you, Mo. This common sense legislation closes that gap by updating the Federal Election Campaign Act to ensure that no one can help circumvent our campaign finance laws. Strengthening enforcement and clarity in our election law is essential to protecting the integrity of our democracy and maintaining public trust in our elections. The Campaign and Election Accountability Act will amend the Federal Election Campaign Act to align with internal Federal Election Commission regulations, prohibiting individuals from aiding and abetting others from contributing foreign money into U.S. elections. Everything is flawed, dilly-dally. Everything is flawed. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm responding because Dilly Dally said, I'm a fan of the Founding Fathers, but it's flawed. Everything is fucking flawed. Why? Because we're people. People are flawed. The ice is melting, but they were out of school today because of it. All right. So listen, folks. I think the thing that I really would like for people to focus on is your perspective on things. If your inclination when you hear information or when you think about something is to negate it or to throw up an obstacle in it, I'm going to ask you to pause and revisit that and ask yourself, is it productive? And sometimes it is productive. Sometimes it is productive, right? To interject something or to talk about a potential obstacle. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is not. And I think we need to become more mindful of what just flies the fuck out of our mouth or out of our fingertips when we hear and we see things, because that default to just throw a negative or to throw an obstacle or to throw a contradiction out is oftentimes not beneficial or productive, and sometimes counterproductive for where we are trying to go. Okay? On that note, people, I've had a sore throat for 2 days. This lymph node right here hurts like the damn Dickens. Oh my God. This one, yes, but this one really bad. And yeah, Cam, I've been oregano oil and neem oil directly in my lymph nodes since it started. Especially because I couldn't get anywhere in the ice, right, to go get meds. So I am gonna go. I will be back tomorrow for sure. Maybe tonight. I don't know. Maybe tonight. I don't know. But to be honest, what I feel like is I feel like coming back tomorrow, right? Because I would rather spend my night working on the project again, because right now I have it slated for March 1st to launch. I would like to get it done sooner than that. So the quicker and the more I make that happen, then the faster I can launch. If you want to sign up for the free workshop that is this Thursday, you need to go to my link tree, click the link for the workshop, and register. That's how you do it. It's in my link tree, and it's also in the Discord. I got you, Lisa. Sounds cool. All right. Okay, folks. Love you, mean it. This girl is out of here. Appreciate you very much, and I will see you here tomorrow. I was going to say same time, same place. Right, Carla, true. But it's actually going to be same place, earlier time. I should be on tomorrow morning by 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So love you, mean it. Peace out. Take care. Bye.